mentioned the interception numbers, so I'll jump to that question. Some would say that it's coincidental. From 1995 to 2001, you increased your interception total by one every single season. And I don't think I've been watching football for a long time now, 25 years. I've never seen anything quite like that. I mean, you see incremental improvement from players, of course, but over a 6-year span of improving those interception numbers, that's pretty remarkable. I'm not going to read all 5 or all 6 of those seasons, but it literally started at 1 interception in 1995 and then all the way to 2006 interceptions.
Right.
So I know we kind of touched a little bit on how you stayed consistent and productive in the NFL, but what kinds of film study habits did you have? Like what was that routine like for you? What kinds of things were you looking for when you flipped on the tape? And then maybe also your end of year routine as well. Like when a season ended, what kinds of things were you doing to think about the next season? Did you write down goals, like that kind of stuff? So.
Yeah, right. Well, it goes back, to Belichick, number one, right? How to watch film. So we sat down in that 30-minute meeting. We went down, okay, 1st and 10, what they run. 2nd and 5, what they run. 3rd and whatever, what they run. Okay, the next 1st and 10, what did they run? Right. So we went through a whole, 16-play script. Right. So I learned how to watch film and watch what a team wanted to do to us. Right. Obviously, the first 16 plays is always scripted. Right. So now you got to go into that after that 16 play. Now, what are they running? So I got into all of that. And so that helped me a lot by film studying. The other big thing, and I think probably the biggest thing in the interception increase was the system change. You notice when Pete Carroll and Coach Tite and all those guys, we ran a lot of 8-man front when I was making 209 tackles, when I led the NFL in tackles 2 years in a row. But when Parcells came in, called me in his office, hey, I ain't gonna have my safety leading the team in tackles, right? So he came in with, playing cover 2, right? Which led me back into the deeper part of the field. And so that's another part of, you can see the rise in mine, because I had more opportunities to make more interception because I was in deep part of the field. So it's twofold, watching a lot of film, understanding what teams want to do to you, and then a system change, from what, like I said, Ted Contrell and all those guys to what Bill Belichick and Parcells wanted to run. So, and again, you mentioned off season, this is understand who you are as a player, right? I always been a great tackler, but again, when they came in, I had to cover more. I had to cover the tight end more. I had to go out in the slide and cover more. I was in the backfield. So I had to understand, like, okay, I got tight hips. So I went and started taking karate,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I took karate. So I always understood your weaknesses and understand the things that you got to get better with. And I knew that about myself. And those are the things that I worked out in the off season. And I had a plan going into the off season. And I worked at it and I came back, and you can see the increase in numbers.
That's awesome. I like I wouldn't have heard that story anywhere, but the karate thing is really cool. Just attacking your weakness, as you mentioned, that's a really cool mindset to have as anything in any walk of life. I would think that that's really the approach that everybody needs to take, is attack your weaknesses. So
absolutely.
Very cool. The next question, it's touching on the 98 season. So I know that you might not love the ending of that season, but I was wondering if you could maybe share a little bit about that year, because it probably is one of the best, if not the best, Jets teams that was ever constructed, the 1998 squad. Yeah. What was it like going into training camp that year? And what was it like realizing that maybe, mid-season, maybe even in November, December, when you guys realized that you were definitely a legitimate contender? What was that like in training camp? And then maybe once the realization came that you guys had a shot?
Right. Well, we knew going into training camp that year that we was pretty together. We had a really good team, you know, and all facet of the team. Actually, very special, all the way around. And actually, when this game started, we won, you know, and we was like, wow, okay. You know, it's a big change from 1-13, 3-13,
Yeah.
1-15. So the big thing is about confidence, right? We had the confidence as a team and understood that we can do something special there. We had great coaches. In the past, I don't think we had such a great coaches. We had good team, good players, but to sustain 60 minutes of football, we never had the leadership from the coaching position standpoint. And I think from Parcells and you know, he kept us focused. He kept us like, you know, we'll come in like we got swag. Y'all ain't got no swag. You know, just keep freaking playing. You know, and he just kept it at a way where you stayed focused. And I think that was the biggest part in the transition and making us winners. And even though it was a disappointing ending, you know, we had a lot of unconventional type things that happened, you know, in Denver. They won, you know, kickoff and the ball spinning back to them in the attitude, you know, so
Yes.
things like that. It just, you know, look at it, man, even though it was a great year, you know, it wasn't our time. A very faith-based type guy, and it is what it
Exactly.
is. And, you know, just, you know, I put myself in all this stuff, man. You know, I look at it and say, God didn't want it had it in my plans, right? I don't put it for nobody else, but it wasn't for me, right? And he gave me a lot and I achieved a lot, but the Super Bowl just wasn't in my plans. And I'm okay with that. Obviously, I'm very disappointed and still think about that year. But, you know, I try to take some positive from negative things that may happen to me or in my life. And so I can move forward, right? Because you get stuck, which I see a lot of people get stuck in situations where, you know, it turns a different way. You know, they start drinking, they get on
Yep.
drugs, and they can never recover from.
Right.
And I try to find something else in me that I can feel good about to help me continue to move forward. But if not, then you can get stuck really quick in this life.
Yep. Absolutely. And maybe it would have just gone to your head, you know, Victor. Like you maybe if you had won a Super Bowl, then maybe you wouldn't have even done this interview.
Who knows, man? Who knows what would have happened? And I maybe not. I wouldn't. You just never know.
That's right.
What it is, but I try to be a man of my word, right? I don't know you from Adam. I mean, I've literally, this is my first podcast that I've done, and I've been asked.
Yeah, you
I
told
don't
me
know how
that.
many more times.
That's right. Yep. And I really do. I really appreciate
And
that. And it's very special.
but you know, say, hey, you make a donation, I'll do it. Right. And so I think that's what I'm going to do going forward is, you know, hey, you make a donation, because I do a lot for people, you know, and I don't ask for anything. I train for free, you know, but I feel when it's time for you to try to do something good, the people aren't there for you.
Right.
Right. So, and I'm not doing anything for money, right? But, you know, there's always a give and take. And that's life, right? You help me, I help you, right? But so many people reach out just to reach out and think you're supposed to do everything for free, but then they have no way of like, okay, you know, I had a golf tournament, you can donate something, you know, we do take donation if you can't make the tournament, right? So there are always opportunities, and I don't want to get into that. I don't want to make this show about that, but I'm just saying, you know, I don't know where it would have been, but God, you know, I got my own street sign, right? Got my own sandwich. I mean, I got a lot that a lot of people who won a Super Bowl don't have.
Sure.
Right. So, you know, I guess I can't get everything.
Perspective is great. Absolutely. So I have to ask this question because I was at this football game. So where were you September 15th, 2002, and what did you do?
Hey man, that game is a MasterCard commercial for sure. You're like, you know, leaving a team, coming back to a team. get an interception, running 90 yards for a touchdown, priceless. You know,
Priceless. Yep. No.
and you know what? I almost didn't play that game.
Mm.
I almost didn't play the game. The game before, I think we played. I think it was Pittsburgh, and I stripped Jerome Bettis. Right, that was just not. It wasn't. I don't think it was that game, but it was. I can't remember the first game. But
Sure.
anyway, I got a form or something, and I got hit right in the rib, and I didn't practice all week.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, Bill's like, hey man, just take it off and you'll be fine. But I had to get shot up. I had to put a whole big like padded thing right here on my side. And but it was a good game, but I was really worried and I was stressed out that whole week, man, outside of that injury, because I didn't know how the fans would react to me. And I'm very loyal, right? I'm a very loyal guy. But when I stepped into the stadium and the fans were, Victor, we love you, we want you back.
Yeah.
I mean, that feeling for me, because I gave so much,
of course,
to the organization, and I hate the way it ended, but it's the fans who I played for, right, and that meant a lot to me. So to hear them yell the words, and actually when I scored, they was yelling, they was cheering almost, right?
Yep.
And,
we were already getting destroyed at that point.
Yeah. So it's a bittersweet moment, if to say the least. But I'm glad that I was able to be a part of that win. I was glad that I was able to, make some plays. And I have I gotta find it, but I have that video, the newspaper clip where Herm Edwards, and you had to see it. Yeah, Herm Edwards looking at me like, that's his face. And then you got Steve Yarnell behind him like this. He was a security guy. He like, like Victor, it had to be that guy.
Right. Yep.
And that's what the MasterCard, commercial, man. So it was like I said, it was a bittersweet for me. But New York is always and always has been and will be in my heart. And I bleed the green and white, man. But, as we talk about, life moves on, right? You get fired from another job and you just can't go sit on your hands, right? You got to keep moving. And if it's a competitor, it's a competitor. And you move on and you try to make the best of it and you do your best, and everything else you fall in place.
Yeah. Well, I had to ask you that question because I still remember sitting in that stadium, seeing a defensive back get the ball, catch it. I was like, oh, damn, game over. And I see it's you streaking down the sideline. I'm like, okay, there's our boy.
It was a good moment, man. And, and I don't gloat in it and I don't, throw it in fans' face, but, it's, I'm doing my job,
Exactly.
I'm doing my job.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up, I do have a couple of questions from fans. They're just real quick ones, if you don't mind doing that. Is that okay? All right, cool. So this is from Jason Rhodes, and he said, VG, how much softer do you see the NFL today than when you played it?
It's a little different. And, I wouldn't, I hate to, I love Roger Goodell. He plays in my golf tournament. He's a good friend of mine. I think they try to make the game safer, right? And you gotta put parameter because it's a very physical game. And I just don't think from my era or the era, when Deacon Jones and those guys were playing, the game can survive, right? You probably have more deaths, right? You definitely have more injuries, so it's different, right? I wish I would be playing in this era, to be honest. I probably played 20 years.
Yep.
But I think that they had to make some changes to make the game safer. But they tried hard. I mean, I think it's a very, still a very interesting game, and entertaining. Still the best game in the world. But they had to do what they had to do.
It's funny you mentioned Deacon Jones. He is probably my favorite non-Jets player of all time.
Um,
The man himself coined the term sack, put the
yeah,
quarterback at a sack, beat it with a baseball
yeah,
bat. I mean, he
yeah,
was just so awesome. I love Deacon Jones. But
yeah. I
anyway,
did too, man. I had a lot of conversation with Deacon. He's a good guy, man.
I wish
That's
I
for
could have
sure.
met him. I wish I
Yeah.
could have met him. This is from an Instagram follower of mine. He said, making the roster as an undrafted free agent had to be an amazing experience. Who was the first person you told?
My mom. My mom. I call my mom because, you know, again, I didn't know a whole lot about the NFL in the process. So the first thing that happened was, you get that call or that, the knock on the door, right? The Grand Reaper, we call them. So here it is, like 5:30 in the morning. And me and the guy named Esther Rose, actually, my wife's name is Esther. His name was Esther. So we had a quad at Hofstra, right? So I hear the, and I didn't sleep that night.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep at all that night, right? So here it is, 5:30 in the morning. I get that knock, and Esther's door, next door, and it's usually Mike Kinsel. That's who was coming through. So, playbook, he's out. And I heard the door close. So it's like the quad door. And God dang, I'm safe. So I went over to the complex, around about 7 that morning. Oh shoot, I get called up to the front office, Dave Williams, Shaq, the first African-American quarterback in the NFL. And he said, Victor, we're gonna waive you. I was like, dang, man, I ain't get that knock this morning. And he said, but we're gonna waive you for 24 hours. And if you don't get picked up, we're gonna bring you back. So that's how I started. And then, obviously my mom was waiting around. I called my mom, she said, you make the team? I said, yes, I made the team. And not knowing that, I was cut. But if I did get picked up, I was gonna be with somebody else, right? So I wasn't really registering that whole process at the time, but that's how it started for me. So I didn't care how I got started. I just wanted
Exactly.
to be on the team. So after 24 hours, I just went back over and, I
Back to
made
work.
made back to work.
Awesome. All right. This is a Edmund Hunt, and he says, congratulations to you on your career. You were a wonderful football player. He says, who was your favorite teammate and why?
I think Otis Smith and Aaron Glenn, Ray Mickens, because, we're all defensive backs and we all hung together and we still all talk to this day. Otis play in my golf tournament. Aaron, he's in Detroit now. We just talked to him. He got the defensive coordinator job in Detroit. Ray, his son is a freshman, sophomore now at Clemson. So we talked. He come down to Atlanta and we just kept in touch. We always keep in touch. And we had some really good times on the football field. And we spent a lot of time off the field, getting to know each other and their families. And, so it's a real special relationship that, now it's been 94 to now. What is that? 20 something years now. I mean,
Yeah,
so
27.
yeah. So it's, so those are some of my, closest friends that I keep in contact with the most.
Awesome. And then I have just one more, and this is more or less just a memory that he wanted to share with you. This is Dave Thornhill from New York Jets Hardcore, which is a Facebook group. He said, Victor, I believe it was you that intercepted Favre in Green Bay. That was opening day in 2000, I believe is what he's referring to. He said, to seal the win on opening day. I was at that game. I just want to say thanks for making it a memorable day. It was actually his bachelor party is what he described it to me. It was his bachelor party weekend and they went to the game and he said that you winning the game, sealing the deal was one of the great memories that he ever had watching the Jets. So he wanted to just thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. That was a great memory. Brett Favre still, want the interception back too. So
he probably has a couple he wants back too, for sure. All right. Well, Jets fans, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Victor Green. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave comments for me, and I will share them with Victor. I want to thank you personally, Victor Green, for doing this interview. Just means a lot to me personally, but also to Jets fans. We loved watching you. And, I think it just people my age, we were younger Jets fans at that time. And we just, we still think back fondly to your days when you played. So we just thank you a lot for your performance and just for, being a dedicated, Jet. I think you epitomize what being a Jet is. And so we just thank you.
Well, I appreciate you for having me on, man. I appreciate all your support, all the fans over the years, and you always will be a part of my life. And I really think and I enjoyed my time. So, again, you can reach out to me. You can follow me on Twitter at Victor Green 2121, VG Foundation on
Yes.
Instagram, and VictorGreenFoundation.org. If you guys can donate anything, I have a tournament. You want to participate. It's September 27th in New York at Glen Head Country Club, and I love your support.
Yeah. And don't forget, guys, that link will be in the description. So please donate. Any amount would be acceptable. Obviously, we'd love as much as we can get. Thank you again, Victor Green. Go Jets, and I'll
Go
see you
Jets.
guys next time. Thank you so much for watching part 2 of Undrafted to Unforgettable, my interview with Jets legend Victor Green. As always, guys, please jet up the like button on this video. And if you're new here and you've enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please consider making a donation to the Victor Green Foundation. These are some kids who really need our help. So if you could do your part, even just a small amount would be greatly appreciated. Go Jets, and I'll see you guys next time.